Good evening, you're about to listen to the Odd Pod. We don't know why, however we are grateful you chose to. We do wish to inform you that the views, opinions and overall morality do not necessarily reflect those of the station, sponsors or musical entities. If you should choose to continue, and we sincerely hope that you do, just know, we try to advise you against these actions and we are not responsible for any damage done to your sanity, morals or ideals. Thank you. Here comes that terrible siren.
Portions of the day's programming are reproduced by means of electrical transcriptions or tape recordings.
And now, broadcasting from the heart of Metro Detroit, you're listening to the Odd Pod.
Double the D's for double the fun.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday night, and you're listening to the Odd Pod on tapdetroit.com. And before we go any further, I feel the need to offer a secondary disclaimer to the one that was there. I'm not a fan of the word triggered because I feel that it's become a buzzword or a pop, a way to demean or diminish or anything else. But I am going to say this. We have audio clips this evening that some members of the audience might feel some kind of way about.
It's going to be triggering. It will be.
That word.
It could trigger a trauma response.
Yeah. So, fair warning, we don't mean to set any bad memories off or reopen any bad wounds or anything like that, but it's honestly what started me down this path of wanting to do this show. The audio clips that we have that we're going to be talking about. We're also going to be talking about a broad range of things. So tonight's topic is toxic masculinity, but the problem is with toxic masculinity, it is like an umbrella term, and then there are a lot of things that fall under toxic masculinity.
Toxicity in general.
Yeah, well, under the toxic masculinity, you'll find stuff about incels, you'll find stuff tonight about the heartbeat bill, women's rights in general, and just how shitty men can be. There are a lot of other things that fall under that scope, and we will cover as many of them as we can muster this evening. But there are some specific ones that I intended us to actually talk about. So once again, to anyone listening, this is your final warning. If you truly want to listen to what we have to say about toxic masculinity, just know that you were warned and that there are audio clips that might be difficult for some people to hear. With me tonight is my wife, Ollie.
Hello.
Also in the studio with us are our friends, Ari and Billy.
Hello. Hi.
I was explaining to them before they came in, or before we came on air, that there are 4 very different viewpoints in this room. Myself, I am a little more progressive than some of the people in my age range.
Yeah.
But I'm also not as progressive as some of the people in my age range. So I fall somewhere in the middle. I don't know necessarily if I would consider myself as bad as some of my counterparts. But I know I'm not as progressive as some of my other counterparts. My wife is in the latter millennial side of things, and she leads with emotion a lot of the time, whereas I lead with logic, and that causes problems because logic and emotion, they don't go hand in hand very well.
What?
Because logic will tell emotion it's being stupid, and emotion goes off and cries, and then logic feels bad.
Yeah.
Ari and Billy are on other sides of the spectrum as well. Ari, I love you, but I've always seen you more as one of the guys than one of the girls.
Yeah, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Though you do have a lot of girl beliefs. I'm very. Okay, so third disclaimer: if I say anything that pisses you off, it's not intentional.
Oh, I know.
And this is for everyone listening. It is not intentional. There is some times where it's
he
hard.
He doesn't understand phrasing. He doesn't.
Yeah, terminology and stuff. Like, I know how to speak the way I speak. It's difficult. I've gotten better on a lot of things. And I've always been progressive. Like, at least to an extent. Like, my friends that were transitioning, I went out of my way to make sure that I didn't dead name them or
use the incorrect pronouns
and whatnot. Like, there are avenues that I truly try to make strides in as to not offend. And it's not that this isn't one of them. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm going to fuck up. I know I am. Like, I know it. I see it coming a mile away. I'm going to fuck up.
It's literally ingrained in us from birth.
Yeah.
It's the problem. We don't even recognize a lot of it until it's pointed out. And even then, it's still hard to recognize.
Yeah. And then Billy is on... I love Billy.
Billy, what do we describe you as? You are not...
He's not quite a soft boy, but he's pretty plush.
I'm husky.
No, meaning that, like, Billy is one of the more sensitive men that I actually know.
Yeah.
You know, like, genuinely sensitive. Like, definitely goes out of his way to make sure that he doesn't come off as a giant asshole. And I know why. I've met the model.
Trauma.
So, but yeah, so like I said, 4 very different but similar viewpoints. It's just coming at it from different arenas, essentially. I am the straight white cis male of the group. I am the devil throughout all this.
Hello, Satan.
Yeah.
Hello, white people.
Fucking white people.
But so here's the thing. Like, I grew up in a household where my mother was the victim of abuse on a regular basis, you know, from both my biological and my non-biological paternal parental figure. Yeah.
Step bitches.
Yeah. Well, no, because, I mean, step bitches could mean something completely different, but yeah.
Step dick.
Ew.
Gross.
It's an avenue we don't want to get into. So, like, everything that I know is skewed already because there are things that I saw and things that I experienced growing up during formative years that I'm almost 40 and I'm still working to unlearn, and I'm still working to try and get through. And of course, you know, the great thing about life is trauma stacks on trauma. So, you know, eventually you have a double-decker trauma sandwich, and it's not a good time. So it's harder and harder to try to clear the way a lot of the times. But there are traits in men that I find to be abhorrent.
Same.
Yeah.
And the worst part is I am friends with other men.
That's pretty bad, yeah. that's awful.
That regularly exhibit these traits.
That's even worse. You could have stopped it. I'm friends with men.
The worst part.
Why?
No, I don't need to hear my own voice again.
She's trying to get in the chat room, and it played automatically.
Yeah, it does that. That's how we make sure you're listening. No, it's very, it's a very weird spot that I find myself in sometimes with our friendship. I bite my tongue because I know deep down the people are good people, and they genuinely care about their friends. They just have a very poor and shitty outlook on certain
Everything
aspects. Yeah.
Well, part of it doesn't help that a lot of people, as I said, don't realize where it comes from or what it is.
I mean, you tell them, and they still say, "I don't give a fuck." So, at that point,
they've been doing it for so long that change at this point is just too much.
So when we talk about toxic masculinity,
That's toxic in and of itself.
Oh, definitely. But
When you hear something and you're unwilling to even change your ways because you're marginalizing a group of people, that's toxicity through and through.
absolutely.
now when we talk about the concept of toxic masculinity, the idea is that men showing any kind of affection, emotion, struggle, anything like that is seen as weak. Traditional stereotypes of men as socially dominant, along with related traits such as misogyny and homophobia, these all fall under the toxic umbrella, due in part to their promotions of violence, including sexual assault and domestic violence. The socialization of boys in patriarchal societies often normalizes violence, such as saying boys will be boys about bullying and aggression. Self-reliance and emotional response are correlated with increased psychological problems in men, such as depression, increased stress, and substance use disorders. Toxic masculine traits are characteristics of the unspoken code of behavior among men in prisons, where they exist in part as a response to harsh conditions of prison life. This is all coming from Wikipedia. This is just the quick little intro and whatnot. Other traditionally masculine traits, such as devotion to work, pride in excelling at sports, and providing for one's family, are not considered to be toxic, although there is an issue where that becomes your whole personality.
The expectation of that is toxic in and of itself.
You take it too far.
Yeah, well,
welcome to toxic masculinity.
Where everything is too far.
I mean, we have only just begun to scratch the surface of change for this. Like, you're talking from our country's inception. Actually, yeah, from long before that, up until 10 years ago?
If that, maybe 3 to 5, if that. Like, honestly, we've only begun to really see change. We've talked about it, but we've only really begun to see change in the last 2 to 3.
Well, part of that problem is terminology. So toxic masculinity is a very new concept for the term.
Yes, lean over her like you're happy to see her.
Please stop, Billy. That's no.
I said lean over her, don't grope over her.
I mean, can't really do one without the other.
That's true.
I think that's
and as
your
long
own
as
fault.
you're consenting.
But toxic masculinity is a newer trait for a problem that's been around for a long time and has been pointed out throughout the decades.
It has been. But unfortunately, because we are a very patriarchal and religious-led society for some reason.
Well, I mean, I guess that goes back to really where it was the most prevalent was like the 40s and the 50s, where it didn't matter if your husband was abusive or anything else. You had to stay with him because that's just part of it. That's it. You just deal with it.
To go even further back.
He gave you a family and he's put a roof over your head. You should be grateful.
Yep.
I'm not grateful for this black eye and busted lip.
Then make the martini right next time. That's the attitude.
Make it not stirred.
Yeah, that's the attitude, though.
Oh, God, I hate it so much.
And I know you hate
That triggered.
But that's the attitude.
It triggers me so bad. Let's punch. God damn it. I hate it so much. It's so fucking stupid.
I'm going to be sleeping outside with the mosquitoes before the night is through. I guarantee it.
I'll come out in the morning and he'll be on the porch. I am their king now. And they're going to be formed in a cape behind
Yeah,
him.
you're going to come out on the porch and I'm just going to be hovering above the ground like, yeah. Hurts a little, but yeah.
They can keep you.
They're part of my circulation system now. But no, that's the attitude is, if you don't want to get beat and if you don't want to get abused and if you don't want to do it right, That was the attitude of the 50s.
And if you don't do it right, get used to it.
I mean, we could go even further back. Look at King Henry.
That motherfucker.
You want to talk about toxic masculinity?
Beheading, yeah, because
My wife didn't give me a child. Now she's dead. This one didn't give me a child.
my wife didn't give me a male child.
Either
way.
Yeah. Potato. When it comes to him. Divorced, beheaded, died. And all that. But it goes so far back. It's constant.
That's still prevalent today, though.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
an idea that's still around today, because
Give me sons.
not even just that. Just the thought of do everything I say, and if you don't, a lot of times it does end up in murder.
Yep. For one party or the other.
I don't like that you're looking at me like that. And the ideas that must have flashed through your head to strike fear in my little soul.
Just make it quick. I don't want to suffer.
No, you get to suffer. That's the point.
I'm the only one. Well, I could say I'm the only one in the room that's trying to die, but, that would be untrue.
Please don't say you're trying. You're not trying. You're just accepting.
Yeah. I'm now accepting applications.
I'm prepared.
But no, and it's been, we've been told that it's been that way forever. But this kind of brings me around to that weird ass fucking theory that I had a few weeks ago.
Oh, God.
Where what if it's all been a lie? We are starting to uncover things in historical documents and looking back that is showing that women were fighters in cultures that we typically associated with male dominance.
Women have been in leadership and, priestesses of villages and all different types for long before.
So my weird-ass batshit theory is at some point women were actually running everything, and men got enough nuts to stand up and fight against it because some dummy was like, this isn't right, and for some reason the other dummies just listened to him.
Because dummies listen to dummies.
Dummy's gonna dummy.
Great minds think alike, but fools rarely differ.
Yeah, so...
My brain went through, all of the taglines that could have been for a Trump 2024 slogan.
Oof.
But no,
Sorry.
so my theory is there was an uprising at some point, and men overpowered women and rewrote history.
Propaganda.
I mean, that's what it's always really been. I mean, look back at, Vikings. A lot of times, women,
I'll go back even farther. The fucking Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Lilith was a woman who would not be obedient to Adam or God. And she was cast out of the Garden of Eden because of it.
Strong, independent woman. She don't need no man.
I don't need no man.
So...
she didn't know.
If you believe the words, the pretty words on the gold-leafed rolling paper book...
What it is.
Anyone that's ever been to jail knows exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, if you believe the words that are on the gold-leafed rolling paper book, we have an instance right in the beginning, supposedly.
Well, remember, that book has been... The details that have been given, we had a full discussion about this, probably 2 weeks ago when we were door dashing. Where we looked into all of the removed books from the Bible. And that's going to have to be a full episode in and of itself. The stuff that we found.
The cherry picking.
Holy shit. We got to talk about that after the show. Because you would not believe some of the shit.
So, we have had it drilled into us that men are the leaders. Women are supposed to stay at home and take care of the house while the men go off and do the hard work.
Because women are too emotional to lead. Yeah? Look what happened. How many wars?
Sausage fingers?
Sausage fest?
I don't know, man. we had a bunch of white dudes that really fucked shit up, and then we had
Exactly.
one black dude that kind of got things right, and then we went
Another
right
white
back
dude.
to a bunch of white dudes.
Well,
So
I mean, I wouldn't call him white. More orange.
how you paint
Pastel Mandarin.
yourself up when you go in public, that does not matter to me, because by that right, there's some white girls walking around out there who think their complexion is like mocha, and that foundation ain't fooling anyone, sis.
Oh.
Truth.
Look, I say this, women, you are beautiful the way you are. I tell Ollie this all the time. I prefer her without makeup. It's not because she looks bad in makeup. It's not because she doesn't know how to do her makeup. I just prefer how she looks natural.
He also can't stand that it can take me up to 4 hours sometimes to do a full face of makeup.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck that.
Eyeshadow.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No, like my eyeshadow can get so intricate sometimes that it's like doing a full painting.
No. If I wear makeup, I'm eyeliner and mascara.
But it's not to go out anywhere. This is something I do. It's, instead of like painting or something like that, makeup is another form of artistry.
Yeah.
And that's what I use it for. Especially on a day where I'm heavy anxiety. That's where it really helps, because it's something I can slow down and focus on.
Well, we were talking earlier today, too. We have a friend of ours who was recently harassed by a guy in public who told her she needed to shave because she was a woman.
Yeah.
And
I wish we had video for stuff like that.
Ari is rocking the
I wish
Chewbacca
somebody
legs.
would.
Chewbacca leg. I wish a mother would.
So, here's the thing. Like, if a woman wants to shave, cool. If she doesn't, cool. If a man wants a woman to shave, not cool. However, there is a way to go about expressing that opinion. But understand, it is just an opinion. And we
It's
talk.
also different. Like, we had this discussion, too.
Yeah.
It's different. If you're in a relationship and you prefer who you're with to shave, there's a way to go about that sensitive conversation. However, just know, you're going to get told no, probably.
Yeah, like, so here's the thing. I've never once told Ollie she needs to shave her legs.
Nope.
I've never once told her she needs to shave her armpits. I've never once told her she needs to shave the hair on her face that all women seem to have. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I do is, and I feel bad because I mention it every once in a while.
It's usually right when I'm out of razors.
And I'm just like, hey, just so you know. And she's like, I know. Shut up. I get it.
I can't help it.
Do you think I enjoy looking like Father Time? No, fuck off. Like, okay. But you always get mad at me when I don't tell you when you got, like, stuff in your teeth or your makeup's messed up, so I figured this was just one of them things.
We were door dashing, and he was like, hey, just so, and I was like, I already know, don't mention it. And he goes, well, I never know when I'm supposed to. I was like, got this, just don't.
Okay.
Because I already know.
But
And I'm out of razors. And that day I was going to Dollar Tree because I couldn't wait on my shipment.
yeah.
That's
So
why I just use an electric razor.
here's the thing.
I don't ever have to worry about running out.
I find zero body hair on a woman to be attractive. I understand that.
Oh, yes, like a prepubescent child.
I guess.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I was molested as a kid. At least I found a healthy outlet.
Oof. Truth. So many truths.
I mean,
I'm sorry, me saying that and watching Ari almost drop that.
A spit take with a cigarette.
yeah.
Yeah, that was almost really bad.
So, but no, I prefer zero body hair on a woman. That's what I find attractive. If that is not something that my partner wants to do, it is not that big of a deal. However,
Do you know how fucking hard it is to play shower yoga while trying to shave every little piece?
I get
while
it.
you're hoping you don't nick your ass.
or fall and bash your head, or
I would think that
Or
nicking
a-
your ass would be the least of your concerns.
well,
Have you
I've
ever
nicked
ran-
my lip just shaving my face, so I can imagine what it feels like lower.
Okay, so let me put it this way. Hair also grows on the inner part of those lips.
Yeah.
So imagine having to take that razor and go up and around the clitoris. Let that razor slip once.
Shame so many people can't find that spot.
Give them a razor, they'll fucking find it.
Found it. No, but so
Why is there so much blood?
if my partner chooses not to shave, I still love them. I still care about them, and I still want to spend time with them and be with them. I may not necessarily be as inclined to be as sexually forthcoming.
Fair.
You know, it's not anything against them. It's just a preference. We were talking about tan lines, too, on women, and I don't like tan lines, and I think it all stems from my OCD. I have very minor OCD, but I have very weird OCD. Mm-hmm. And I had said earlier that when we were talking about tan lines is that the parts that aren't tanned after you've tanned, to me, look sickly.
Like if you're wearing a bikini and you go into a tanning bed and you get like those lines just like that, that's irritating to me to tell.
If you notice how I design things when I do everything, I like sharp.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think the thing is like I want one uniform tone, and I think that's what it comes from. Again, it's not like I'm gonna be like, ew, fuck you, I don't want to talk to you. It's just, hey, I don't know. And it's my own thing. I don't think anything's wrong with that. Everybody's got their own fucking hang-ups. Leave me alone. Shut up.
But it's the same thing for, like, girls obviously have their preferences when it comes to other girls or other guys. Like, there's preferences you have.
Yeah.
Like, you may prefer blondes, but the person that you happen to fall in love with is a brunette. It's one of those little things.
And
that's... The thing about it, like Odd said...
Or boob size.
The thing about it, like Odd said, is it's about boobs. How you approach it.
Yeah.
There's a difference between, like, you need to go shave and, like, hey, why don't we, like, clean this up a little bit? Or something. Like, there's a better way of...
Honestly, if I had the money, I'd just pay for it or go get completely waxed. Don't come back with any hair. Here is a spa day, come back hairless, except for what's on your head.
Do you know why I love that idea?
Spa day?
No.
And eyebrows. You wanted to keep the eyebrows.
On her
he doesn't care.
Yeah, here's the thing. I've seen her draw them on enough times that
There.
The tail end of them don't grow right, so I have to shave off the tail end and grow them correctly. Like, draw them in correctly. However... The point of that is, shaving is exhausting. Shaving is fucking exhausting. And the fact that I don't have to do it, cherry on top.
That's why I don't.
And see, to me,
I don't care.
That is a better way to go about than being like, hey, your legs are nasty. You need to shave them. You need to shave because you're a woman.
Walk in there, start making bookie noises.
When I was in high school, the guy that I was dating, used to pick on me relentlessly because I had more arm hair than he did.
I have more arm hair.
To the point where I would wake up every morning and shave. Even if there was no hair there, I would shave my arms because he wouldn't even hold my hand.
Wow.
I am German. It does not help.
I had more hair than he did.
Man, you just needed to find a guy that was into banging werewolves.
But I'm a ginger. You can't even see my arm hair.
I'm brunette. You can fucking see mine. Guess what? Do you know what happens if I shave that?
It grows back thicker?
No, that's actually a myth.
True.
It doesn't grow back thicker. It just grows back in the worst way possible.
It's all itchy and...
I know.
Just shaving your arms and then letting that sun hit it.
I will tell you that shaving your arms is actually worse than shaving your face.
I've shaved every part of my body.
Yeah.
I've gone completely nude.
I've had to get
and
tattoos.
Billy releases way too much information on the show.
No, I've had to get the tattoos on my arms. And no, I will not shave my arms again unless I'm getting a tattoo.
It's
and even
brutal.
then, I don't really want to.
It's brutal.
It's not.
Yeah.
And then, like you were saying, when the sun hits it, and then it's just...
0 out of 10, bud.
Because, here's the thing. With shaving, I cannot use lotion after. And most people are like, oh, yeah, well, after you shave, you need to moisturize. I will have the worst breakouts no matter how careful I am shaving. If I put lotion or moisturizer or anything on any part of me that I've shaved, it goes so wrong. I have to leave it alone. I can't put moisturizer. I can't use lotion for like the first day because otherwise it's fucked up. And I think that's because how oily my skin is naturally, that it's just compounding oil.
That makes sense.
Who just tapped back into our Bible discussion and said, look what the church did to Mary Magdalene. They turned her into a whore.
Yep.
Which she wasn't.
And no part of the Bible doesn't say she was.
Nope.
But that's the narrative that the patriarchy wants to put, right? You know, if you're not with us, then you're a whore and you're a terrible person.
Well, I mean, look how bad they've twisted don't take the Lord's name in vain. Do you know what that actually means?
Don't misspeak about Yahweh.
Yo, here's the thing. The word God and the word Lord were created so you could say, oh my God, or oh Lord. Because using the Lord's name in vain, one, was considered using Yahweh in vain. Two, that's not how it was said. So the point of it was, when you say, don't take the Lord's name in vain, it's don't take the Lord's words and twist them for your own use.
Fuck, Christianity's screwed.
That's the whole point. That's what a lot of, like, Bible studies people have been doing.
Look at all the cherries.
People with the theology
cherries.
majors or doctorates in theology, most of them will say, the reason I left the church is because I got a doctorate in theology. I understand how bad this really was.
And the worst part is, if you read the Bible cover to cover, what it preaches is generally good.
It's a hardcore metal book, I'm going to tell you that.
Really fucking is.
You get the same things from Aesop's Fables.
You're absolutely right. Basically, it all comes down to just don't be a fucking dick. Yes, it's difficult, but just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
It's not really that difficult.
I mean...
Have you ever done it?
Yeah, once or twice.
And how hard was that for you? Exactly, don't talk.
But it's not really that difficult when it comes down to it.
Don't kill people, don't steal from people.
Which I do on a daily basis. I don't kill anyone. I don't steal from anyone. I've never coveted my neighbor's wife for tools.
I mean, in that day, the wife was a tool.
Yep.
I mean,
Nowadays, the husband's the tool. Hi-yo! But no.
We got better tools for that now.
So...
The noise that came out of you and the look on Artie's face was the perfect match.
I'm going to tell you, too, the show may run a little longer tonight. That's why we haven't gone to break yet. We've got these clips that I want to try and get in, at least to the first part of break, at least. So the fun size might be a little bigger than the normal fun size. It's just, there's so much to cover, and 3 hours is going to be rough to try to get it all in. But the problem is okay, so men are raised, boys are raised to believe that they need to be tough, they need to be strong, they need to be stoic.
Oh, God.
And
fucking annoying.
That they don't need to, quote-unquote, complain. Boys are raised to believe that they're supposed to play with trucks and guns. They're supposed to wear blue. They're not supposed to have any pursuits that could be seen as girly.
Because God forbid your 5-year-old boy wants to paint his nails because he saw his mother or his sister doing it.
Right.
God for fucking bid.
Boys are raised to believe that they are the top tier when it comes to the genders.
You must present always as a king when really you're acting like a fucking jester.
Be an alpha.
Ugh.
Be a wolf, not a sheep.
Ugh. I thought the Lord was your shepherd, though, bud.
Apparently, they weren't talking about that. And little girls are raised to believe that, they're supposed to play with dolls and wear pink and fucking learn to cook and sew. And the pinnacle of their life should be motherhood and marriage.
Yep. That's fucking irritating. I'm sorry, there are life skills that everybody should fucking know. 1, how to cook their own meals. 2, how to balance their own checkbooks and take care of their own finances.
I can balance it just fine. I just set it on a flat surface.
Shut the fuck up. And everybody should know how to mend a hole in their clothing, to sew a new piece of clothing if they need it. Sew on a button, for the love of God.
All right, so I don't know how to do those last things, but that's because my mother was a crafter and a seamstress, and that's who I went to when I needed things sewed. She did try to teach me to sew, and she did try to teach me needlepoint, and she did try to teach me to, like, crochet like she does. I have stupid fingers. They could not get it. I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I just could not make it work. I used to, like, when I was a kid, I would try to put together models and stuff, too. I have stupid fingers. They don't like small, finite
They're
work.
not dexterous.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have a lot of dexterity
Yeah.
and, like, finesse in your work.
Nope. I am big, hammer-handed man.
But the point here is something we were talking about with a friend of ours. Is you try to match with somebody who kind of balances.
Yeah.
So, like, he can't do that. I can sew on a button. I can mend his clothing. That's fine. He can use my website for candle stuff. Like, he can fix all of that. Like, there's a balance to it.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing those things. He can cook his own meals. He knows how to.
She's terrible at math. I'm fairly decent at math. At least small math, quick math in my head.
I could drop you in the middle of anywhere, and you would never figure out how to get home.
Nope.
I can figure out where I am at any point.
Except for the fact that I'm not like most men. I'm willing to ask for directions.
And that's a big step.
Like,
It really shouldn't be, though.
I know.
I have no fucking clue where I am, man. Can you point me in the right direction?
But that's another toxic thing.
Yeah.
Asking for help.
Yep.
Well, because it all comes from, at least in my opinion, it all comes down to we are taught we have three emotions, and any emotion besides those three are either bad or an extension of those three.
Are those three emotions hungry, angry, and horny?
Yeah,
no,
basically.
it's sad, angry, and happy.
No, you're not allowed to be sad.
Yeah, I don't
You're
do
the
sad,
strong one in the
usually.
family. You have to carry everybody else.
You can feel sad as long as it's sorrow.
And then don't cry.
You have suffered a great loss. You can be sad for that.
Just don't express it in any way, shape, or form.
There you go.
And here's one of my toxic masculinity traits. I am baseline when it comes to emotions.
Mm-hmm.
If anything makes me feel one way or another, it's
extremes.
immediately angry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
but
I don't want to feel.
It took me years to figure out how to get past that. Not even gonna lie to you.
I'm 40 years old and I ain't there yet.
Yeah. My emotions tend to be extreme. Like, I cannot take one anger. I can't take it. I won't deal with it. I'll ignore him. Anything. I'll just ignore it. Fuck off. I can't deal with this right now. I'm not going to. When you calm down, we can have a discussion, and that throws him into a further anger.
Yep.
Nope. I'm going to walk away.
Because I'm the same way. I used to be like that, where I was 0 to 100, I'm pissed off, I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
Right here and now, let's go. And I now am one of the biggest pacifists because I know my temper. And I know that if I get mad, it's 0 to 100. Still. So I just don't. And when he gets mad about something, I just kind of sit there and watch him and like, are you done? You want to stop being a bitch now? No?
It tends to
All right.
dissipate fairly quickly if I'm left alone.
It flashes. Oh, it's so bad. Like today when we were delivering something, he ripped the keys out of the ignition, tore the thing apart, and then threw them.
Not the ignition. The keychain fell off.
Yeah, he like ripped them apart and he threw them across the street while we were making a delivery. I had to walk all the way over there and I was like, are you done?
I didn't intentionally rip it off,
I've
though.
done that.
What I
I know
did
what
is
you
I
meant.
grabbed by the keychain to pull it out of the ignition, and it broke.
Yeah,
Which
and
then
he threw
triggered
it.
the fuck this
Yeah.
and throw it across the road.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've done that.
and there was
I've been
no.
there.
I said there was no point in doing that. There's none. Help me deliver this and get back in the car. Like there was no point.
I wish I could agree with you, but there was a point. He was angry. What's the easiest way to stop the thing that's making
The
you mad?
problem he was angry about was no reason to do that.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about why the shift in the dynamic in the household is about to take place. And it's basically, I've hit a wall. I can't do it anymore right now. I have too much that I have stuffed down that I haven't had time to process and deal with.
So his anger right now is at flashpoint 1,000.
And the difference between now and the previous things, like in the past is I am recognizing that I am at my point. I need out for a bit.
So we're doing that. But the problem still lies is he's going to have to go to therapy.
Yuck.
He's going to have to unpack his anger, unpack his grief.
Look, nothing wrong with therapy. I have no issue with therapists or psychology or whatnot. The problem is I'm too smart for the tricks to work. And they don't work on me, and I get more frustrated.
That's why he won't go.
That's why they tried to take me at 9 when my dad died, and then the therapist said she's telling me what she wants me to hear. This isn't going to work for her. I was at like 9, 10 years old. Like,
my brother and I had to go to therapy for a little while, and
no,
we separate thing.
Yeah,
but we fuck you, Will. We convinced this shrink that everything was fine, even though it very much wasn't.
Yeah.
And then when finally he was like, I think you guys are good to go, we were like, no, wait, stop, please. We really need this. We really like this. Can we keep coming? And he was like, no, you don't need me. We were like, yes, we do. Wait, let's back up a little bit.
But, like, that's the thing. Like, he's going to have to find a therapist who is not going to try to, like, manipulate the stuff out of him. He's going to have to find one who's willing to talk, willing to help him process, instead of just getting him to find where the trauma is.
The problem is I know where the trauma is.
Yep.
And I know all the stuff that they're going to tell me to do to try to fix said trauma. It doesn't work.
It does if you can find one to actually walk you through it, because you're going to need a specific type of anger management and anger trauma counseling.
The problem is all I see happening is you're putting Band-Aids on gunshot wounds. You know, and it works for some people. It really does. And even when I was in the field doing it, I saw it working for others, but it does not work for me.
You also haven't been... Well, here's the thing. When we first met, when we first got together, you were in counseling and therapy because of the incident that had happened just recently before.
Yeah.
The thing on your arm. You were recently in that.
Yeah.
You were recently involved in that. It was helping you. You were a completely different person at that point. When you left that, it got worse. So I know it does at least help manage for you.
Yeah, but I left that because my therapist left.
Right. Which we have discussed in the past 2 weeks, that you have abandonment issues on women, and she was a female therapist, and that just compounded the issue. However...
What had brought that up anyways?
Why you don't like female content creators or music.
Yeah.
Female musicians.
So, we were... Weird.
Yeah!
Okay, so in like the 90s and whatnot, there were actually quite a few female-led groups that I liked. Veruca Salt was one of them. The song Seether, absolutely loved. That was it, pretty much. Like, that was their one hit, and that was it, and they were done. And that happened a lot. And it must have triggered something like, I just don't enjoy, and this sounds shitty, but I just don't put a lot of stock in female content creators. And I know that's a terrible stance to have.
Well, the problem also, I think, lies in the fact that your mother has tried as hard as she could to keep things going. She did not protect you.
No, not at all.
And you kind of felt abandoned in the household, and that's what started that shit.
Makes sense.
Mom, in Mom's defense, Mom didn't have a lot of choice. Mom was the one that had to work.
So she was gone. Not only that, but in other things as well. She was... She tried...
Was a victim.
She was... Her and I had a talk probably about a month before she died, where she had packed a lot of shit on me, and I know a lot of stories about what happened when he was an infant. Things that I'm glad I got to hear beforehand. Like, before she passed.
Because I know most of them. I just don't talk about the shit, because there ain't no point. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't make it any better.
But finding a therapist and being able to talk through is one of those healthy things that you need to do. And he's fighting me, but he knows he needs to.
No, because I've talked about this stuff before, but I still wind up back to where I am. What I feel most days, and this is problematic, I know, is I have to be someone that I'm not necessarily instinctually as a person.
Oh, yeah, your instinct is anger.
My instinct is mistrust,
Yep.
anger, and distance. It has been very hard for me to keep and maintain a lot of friendships. There are some that have magically stood the test of time, one of which is in the chat room right now.
One of which is in the room.
Yeah.
You kept one of them. Kept one of the fuckers.
But it has always been difficult for me to trust because I have been hurt, and that's where a lot of my toxic traits come from. And honestly,
It's protection.
and this is not an excuse for the toxic men, but honestly, that's where most of the toxicity or toxic masculinity does stem from. There is trauma.
Traits come from trauma.
Yeah.
Who knew?
That doesn't excuse it, though. That's the thing.
Because you always have the option to change. It's when you don't take the option.
You will almost always be given the option to change. You can't be willing to work on something while it's still occurring.
Correct.
So
But once you're separated,
if I'm, say, still with the people who had abused me,
yes,
I would never have gotten past my anger, which means I would have never. I would have killed myself.
you need to be separated from the issue, and you have to unpack all of the trauma.
And part of that problem is so many boys are forced into it that their toxic traits are to force others into it.
Correct.
And so we don't really get that chance to separate from the trauma because it's literally all around you.
Right. Well, when you're a kid, and even still, as an adult, when you have guy friends, as a guy, you show any kind of emotion. What are you, some kind of pussy?
Yep.
What are you, some kind of?
But back in my day, we didn't talk about our feelings.
Shut the fuck up, Harold. Nobody cares.
Yeah, and the problem is a lot of the male figures we look up to are like that.
Well, here's the thing too. Toxicity has become like an MLM or a pyramid scheme, where all you do is pass it on to the next person until somebody breaks that chain. And it has to be you who breaks that chain. Otherwise, it's just going to get worse.
But see, part of my fear, at least one of my fears, is say I were to have a child, say I were to have a son. Is what I'm doing any better than previous generations?
Okay, but here's the thing. At least
No, probably not, but at least you're trying.
Here's the thing.
And you might make a small difference. See,
but your child wouldn't be afraid to go to therapy because you guys know how hard it is, and you guys know the importance of mental health. Oh, yeah. That alone, if there's an issue, they know how to work on it sooner. There is a difference.
Say you're laying down sheets of paper, okay?
Oh, God.
All right.
Who are we killing?
No. You're just laying down sheets of paper.
Oh, okay.
All
I
right.
thought we were unpacking the trauma a different way.
Say you're laying down sheets of paper, and you've got 10 sheets down, and nothing has gone wrong. But for some reason, you've got this massive project where you have to lay down these sheets of paper, and you needed to eat lunch. Well, a crumb from your lunch fell onto one of the sheets of paper. Now you're laying sheets of paper on top of paper and a crumb, and there's a bump. Yep. Say you left another piece of your food there. There's an even bigger bump. What you're doing at that point is, yes, you may not be making great strides with the next generation, but you're making a small stride, and that's honestly how we make change.
Yeah.
We can't. I've said this before. It's that fucking pendulum argument all over again. We've been so far pulled back one way for so long. No matter how much we want to be in the middle, that pendulum has to swing all the way to the other side before it'll finally come to rest in the middle. And it will have to go back and forth and slowly slow down until it falls in the middle. So you're making small strides.
And all you can do at that point is hope that your kids carry it on.
Yep.
But here's the
They
thing.
make their small changes too.
Yeah, but you're not going to do the things that your caretakers did. You're not going to leave your child as fucked up as you were because of the abuse.
You're not going to make the same mistakes, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to make all new ones. And that's just how it goes. But you're not making those same mistakes, so it's going to be something different that needs to be fixed down the line.
But at some point, isn't that worse?
No, because you're not making the same mistakes as before.
Would you rather have 30 more generations with the same abuse and trauma that you suffered?
Absolutely not.
Well, that's the change.
My fear on that one is, we'll go with the pendulum. So my problems are all over here, and if I were to swing the pendulum to the other side, and now they have a bunch of issues to unpack, is a therapist even going to be prepared to handle these problems that they might not even have seen before?
More than likely, yes. But you're not giving the anger, and you're not giving the
Your child will know that you love them no matter what. That's what we've got to instill in the next generation, is you are loved. You are absolutely not going to be abused and mistreated the way I was. I'm going to give you better because I know better than to hurt you like this.
Yep, exactly.
And we need to start, it started, but we really need to instill in the next generation that your role in life is not dictated by what may or may not be between your legs.
That.
Oh, for sure.
Gender norms are some of the most highly toxic things that we could ever imprint on a generation.
Gender is a social construct.
Truth.
It really is, because gender is so fluid, and that flows into another one.
We're going
to hit so
you
many.
can break it down into science if you want. There would be hundreds of thousands of different types of gender because of chromosomes, because of the way the brain maps, etc., etc.
Hormones.
Science has already gone. There's more than 2 genders.
I think they need to be classified as something else then.
I agree.
Because I still feel there are only 2 genders. There is male and female. Let me finish. How you identify is completely different from biological gender.
I would say sex at that point. There are 2 sexes.
Okay,
not
fine.
Genders.
Yeah, sure, whatever. There are 2 sexes, but how you identify is completely different.
One of those terms will get you canceled. The other one will not. Let's phrase.
But see, cancel culture in and of itself is toxic as well.
As hell.
And so, like, this to me goes back to the fucking argument of,
this is
people,
why we said it'd be a longer show.
Yeah, people getting pissed off when you say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. Fuck off! I'm wishing you good cheer. All right, fuck you. Take the good cheer and go. You know,
I don't subscribe to your imaginary friend. Stop trying to make me.
Right. You also have to understand that some people lack the proper terminology, or to properly express what they're feeling. They go with what they know. You should be able to tell from the intent.
Oh yeah.
Or context. When I say that there are 2 genders, I just mean there's a dick and a vagina. That's it. There's a dick and a vagina. That's it. How you identify beyond that, though, if you were born with a dick and you identify as if you had a vagina, that's fine.
Yeah.
If you like to go between the 2, if you're non-binary for the most part, fine. But when I say that there are only 2 genders, dick and a vagina, that's it. If you want to change that later in life, by all means, go for it.
What about those who have both?
Or neither.
I can't use the word that I know that those are.
Intersex is more closer to.
So
I think that's the acceptable term at this point in time.
Yeah.
Because the other word I had to yell at him for using.
Like, what?
He didn't know, and he stopped using it, and that's changed. Welcome to non-toxic.
That's the important part, is you went, oh, that's not appropriate? Then I'm going to stop using the term.
Intersex is the appropriate word at this point.
I don't like that, but whatever. I don't necessarily like the old word either, but it was just what I knew. And either way, what it comes down to is, for me, I don't mean to offend. And I have said this numerous times when I meet new people or I'm in a group of people and whatnot. I don't necessarily mean to offend. If you are offended... Correct me, but also understand, I'm not going to apologize for you being offended, because that wasn't my intent.
Correct.
I didn't set out to purposely offend you. If you're offended, that's a you problem, not a me problem.
I'm sorry I have offended you, but I did not mean to.
I'm not even necessarily sorry I offended you, because I didn't intend to. If I have done something,
fine line. Yeah.
If I have done something that I intended to do and it upset you, that's when someone should apologize. If you're just out there trying to be you and talk how you know how to talk, I didn't mean to offend you.
We will never discriminate based on gender, based on identity, based on race, based on religion, because there is 1,000 of them.
Sexuality.
Any of it.
Income bracket is one that I look down my nose at.
Eat the rich. But but that's about it. Like, we have...
Nose at?
Yeah.
Well, we have never been one to judge based on gender fluidity.
That's right.
Anything.
Obviously.
Nothing.
Let me get caught up in the chat. Who just said, and that way of repressing emotions could in no way be the reason that men commit suicide 3 to 4 times the rate of women. Sarcasm. And then the Roland said, being able to recognize a problem already gives them a step ahead of where we started.
Yeah.
On the suicide note, as much as I hate tangents,
This show is all tangent.
Yeah.
This is a tangent show.
We are cutting back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
I've done quite a bit of study on suicide, and the reason men are 4 times more likely to succeed in suicide, which is the actual statistic, is we tend to go for more
Violent options.
permanent options.
Violent options.
Building things that are guaranteed.
Yeah.
We don't tend to.
Well, that's because we're raised to be an alpha male, and
exactly, go big or go home.
Yeah.
Women will.
There is no quit.
Try going like the peaceful sleep.
Well, not even that. Like, there's also something to be said about it being instilled in women to not leave a mess behind for somebody else to clean up.
Yep.
Guys typically go for guns, nooses with a high enough drop rate that they don't have to worry. Buildings, things like that. Driving off of things like where you hit something concrete.
That's my preferred way out.
Yeah, you
driving right into a fucking wall.
Your option is succeed or succeed.
120 miles an hour into a concrete wall. That'll do it.
But that's the problem too, is succeeding. You have to succeed. That's another toxic shit.
Or die trying. Oh wait.
Shut up, Ari.
That's one that I for sure have 100%.
No.
Absolutely.
We're definitely not all sitting here with anxiety, depression, and trauma and trying our hardest to be perfectionists when we know we can't be, so we're setting ourselves up for failure. Hello.
Oh, gee, thanks for that again. I almost forgot.
What are you talking about? I'm a Leo. I already think I'm perfect.
Yeah, you're a Leo with a double Taurus. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
God, you're stubborn.
Oh my god, if you don't fucking know. Jesus fucking Christ. So, I don't know if I told you this, Ari, but do you realize that we're in 5 retrogrades, and we're about to be in a 6th one, and this motherfucker has been getting worse and worse, and I can tell it's happening, because I know when planets slide into retrograde, it does affect him, even if you think it's hocus pocus, whatever. Mercury retrograde hits, and he's going to be so much better, because we've talked about this before. A Mercury retrograde hits, and he is, like, top. Everybody else gets fucked with it. He is like, no, this is great.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Play the lotto.
No.
I believe if
Mega
you were.
Millions is like 400 and something million.
I've
right
only
now.
ever... one, I don't gamble.
Powerball.
I've only ever played the lottery once. Actually, no, I didn't even do it. I meant to, and I forgot to. I was doing numbers for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Friday the 13th, and I was like, I should play 666. I didn't, and 666 came up.
Yep.
Well, you also do, you've done scratch-offs or pull tabs, stuff like that before, and won during Mercury retrograde. And only during Mercury retrograde.
I can't win on those. It saved my damn life.
He bought a $5 card and won $25.
Yeah, I'm typically fairly good luck at certain points.
I
But
hate you so much.
when it comes to toxicity, it shows in many forms, but unfortunately a lot of those forms are abuse, and it is abuse in not ways that people would necessarily define abuse. Everybody hears abuse and they immediately want to go to physical violence.
But it's so much more than that.
And it is
mental, emotional, physical, sexual,
verbal,
every bit
of it. And some of the clips that we have that I'm going to play here. We're going to mute the mics. We're going to play each one. And
these were pulled off of TikTok, which is somewhere that it's a channel. The ones I'm thinking of, the guy is technically a minister. He is a minister, but he does not subscribe to the toxic Christianity. he believes in what we kind of believe in more, love and intent, and
Yeah.
he's a different side of that, and completely.
We'll link to his TikTok when we post this.
Yes.
His name is Robbie Harvey.
He's great.
But I will link to his TikTok for them.
A lot of relationship advice, a lot of like marriage advice, things like that.
These specifically, though, are a mixture of things. I'm just going to say that men have said to women in different points, because some of them deal with miscarriages. Some of them deal with having children. Some of them deal with marriage in and of itself. And I am going to warn you once again that these are pretty difficult to listen to.
I played them for you in the car, and you were just like, you couldn't wrap your head around some of the things being said. If that tells you with his anger problems, if it tells you anything, he could not wrap his head around the things that were being said.
Yeah.
That's a total level of really hard to hear.
So we're going to play this first one. And again, I'm sorry if this upsets you or stirs up any old trauma or anything like that. But unfortunately, in order to properly discuss this,
these things have to be heard.
Yeah. So I'm going to play the first clip now. I'm going to cut our mics, turn up the volume so we can all hear him here in the studio.
These are more quotes from husbands to their wives. You need to take responsibility for me cheating on you. I don't tell you about all the things that made my day. I don't want to hear what made your day. After the passing of my brother, he said this about my dad. He's so distraught, he should just put a shotgun in his mouth. Every time I've said I was sorry, I never meant it. I just wanted you to shut up. Don't be mad because she's better than you. This one is really hard to read, to know that someone is this evil. Every time we fight, he threatens to call my rapist so he can give him a high five. Here are actual quotes from husbands to their wives. I'm tired of being married to a fat woman. If you can't deliver a healthy baby, then I need to find someone who can. I wish you would have been deployed to Afghanistan. I wish your grandson would die. The child is 3 years old. Do you know how much time I had to take off when you got cancer? If I met you today, I wouldn't look twice. I did it because I didn't want to think about you. Look at yourself. Nobody would love you. Be happy that I'm staying. And here's the number one comment that we got from wives. It's not what he says. It's what he doesn't say. To those of you going through something like this, where you have a spouse in your life that says hurtful things like this. These are quotes from fathers to their children. Before I turned 18, he bought me an adult toy and said, "Here, become a woman before you graduate." If your mom ever left me, I'd burn the house down with you inside. After an unsuccessful suicide attempt, my father said, "Do you know how much money you would have saved me if you would have tried harder?" You didn't feel as good as I had hoped for. When I was young, Every time he helped me take a bath, I ended up in pain. We were sitting in the car when my father placed his hand on my thighs, and he said, "We can't leave the car yet because I'm too turned on." You know what? These are more quotes from men who call themselves husbands. You think you're safe? I'll stand outside, I'll light the house on fire, and I'll smell your flesh burning. Never ruin that pretty face because it's all you've got going for you. No one raped you. You're too ugly for that. When I was pregnant, I caught my husband cheating. He responded, "Go tell someone who cares." Next time you nag me, I won't stop until your daughter is motherless. After having an emergency C-section, first thing my husband said was, "You can't even have a baby the right way." We're hard guys, so. At 38 weeks, my son was stillborn. The hospital gave me a box with pictures of our child. So I opened it while sitting in our empty nursery. My husband said, "Put that up. I don't want to look at the son you killed." There was blood all over the bathroom as I held my baby in my arms. My husband walked in and said, "What do you expect me to do? You probably weren't even pregnant." When I had my first miscarriage, my husband said, "At least we don't have to pay for the abortion." I was 8 months pregnant. When I miscarried our child. 2 days later, it was time to deliver her. When my husband, walked out of the hospital room and never returned. I delivered our dead baby alone. To the women who have to go through something like this, listen. Isaiah 41:13 says, "I hold you by your right hand. I, the Lord, your God. And I say to you, don't be afraid, for I am here to help you." I know these men they're abandoning you. Just keep your faith.
All right. So, there is so much to unpack with those clips. First off, fuck any man who has the nerve to belittle or berate a woman for miscarrying. My mother miscarried several times before she had me. I am what is known as a rainbow baby. My brother is also a rainbow baby because my mother miscarried several times before he was born. It is a terrible and traumatic experience for women to go through. It is something that men will never understand fully. There is a level of understanding that I believe can be achieved because for the men that truly want to be a father and have a child, their hopes and their dreams are
a sense of loss of the child they will never get to raise.
But what a woman goes through during a miscarriage is something that we will never be able to grasp because there is a life growing inside of them. I remember talking to my mother about the miscarriages. She said she felt like a failure, that the easiest thing in the world she couldn't get right. And she was grateful for both me and my brother because nothing went wrong. There is an attachment to every pregnancy. There are hopes and there are dreams and there are plans and there are hormones and all of these things. See, well, this goes back to that toxic traits though, because remember earlier I said women are raised to believe that the pinnacle of their life, or at least they were, at least my mom's generation, hasn't changed that much though, unfortunately. They are raised to believe that the pinnacle of womanhood is to be a mother and a wife. Now, women are so much more than a mother and a spouse. And how any man could ever say any of the things that were read is beyond me in that situation. I can understand the man being angry, but there's no reason to direct it at the woman. She did nothing wrong. But I get being angry that something happened.
And the problem is that anger gets directed to the closest thing.
Yep.
You can be angry at a situation, but there's a way of handling it. And
Always.
none of that is it.
No. To the men who...
I wouldn't call them men.
Barely call them human.
Who have the gall to blame a woman for their infidelity.
Oh.
I can understand being driven apart from your partner.
Mm-hmm. Things happen.
People change, people grow, it happens. Cheating is never an option in my book. I would much rather tell you this isn't working anymore and I'm done and hurt you that way than cheat and try to get away with it only for you to find out and have you live the rest of your life wondering why you weren't good enough, because there is no answer. It's not that you weren't good enough. It's that you coupled yourself with someone who not only didn't value themselves, but they didn't value you as well. There is no reason that any of those things should have been said to your children or your partner or the mother of your child. When Ollie first played them for me in the car, I was shocked and I was angry. If I were to ever hear a guy, whether I knew him or not, say something like that, I got no problem going back to jail. None whatsoever.
I love that there were knuckles cracking all through the basement. Like, everybody was just like, on site. Fuck you.
I won't be going to jail for murder. Torture? An unusual torture, yeah. Sure.
Unusual.
You won't die.
You're gonna wish you were dead.
I got shit to do, man, like plan an escape. I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna get in, get out, and be gone.
I want to go to prison because the first thing they ask you is, what are you in for? And I'll be a hero.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, something Ollie and I go back and forth on is the death penalty. She doesn't believe that the death penalty should exist. I, on the other hand, believe we should use it with vigor in certain cases.
I believe certain cases should have the death penalty, but only certain ones where we're talking like serial killers. Like the top end of like the Ted Bundys, where he wasn't going to stay in jail. He escaped one too many times. Like that shit. Gacy. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer, the Peeper Dahmer.
God damn it, Ari.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go for a palate cleanser. I'm going to get the next articles and stuff pulled up. We're going to go to break. We're going to play music. You're going to get Acid Trip, Strings of Soul. You're going to get Robert Lewis with Change Your Mind, and you're going to get The Skinny with Havana. You're also going to end up getting the Captain Ron report from our good buddy Ace, who is out traveling. And then when we come back, we're going to get into more. Again,
yeah, silly. There's more.
There's no more clips.
No.
That's it. That's all the clips. And again, I do want to take the moment. This is one of those instances where if you're offended, I will apologize, because I know those were rough to listen to.
They were.
For anyone that hears this after the fact, I will also be providing resources in the post to link to domestic violence and, nationwide women's shelters.
Suicide prevention.
Suicide
hotline.
prevention. There will be links in the description down below. And if you are listening to the Fun Size and you're on YouTube, hit that bell, hit the follow, hit the subscribe, comment, let us know what you think. And I do want to say this too for any of the guys, because I know I'm going to get hate from the guys here soon. Like, once the show gets posted,
oh yeah,
I know there's going to be a few men that are going to pop off, and I'm going to tell you this. One, shut up, I don't want to hear it. Two, we are.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah, we are going to cover toxic femininity in the future as well.
We will,
because there are two sides to this coin.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
We've had this discussion multiple times.
And so, don't worry, guys, if you're mad, one, you're part of the problem, but two, we're going to talk about the women's side of things. But tonight, fuck the guys. It's just what it comes down to.
If you're in the comments screen, what about toxic femininity? You're still part of the problem.
Yeah,
you're still part of the problem.
I'm already aware that it exists, and I'm already planning to address it.
If you feel the need to bring it up again, get out.
Yeah.
We don't need you here.
When we come back, we're going to talk more about the psychology of toxic masculinity and dive into some of the other things that fall under the umbrella, such as the heartbeat bill in Texas.
Jesus.
We're going to talk about incels, and we're going to talk about the huge fucking blunder that OkCupid made today on Twitter. It was gloriously bad. I know what they were trying to do.
But it went the wrong way, okay, Cupid?
Man.
Good God.
All right, you're listening to the Odd Pod on tapdetroit.com, and we will be back.
Now it's time for the Odd Pod's Patreon shout-out. Big thanks to Tiki, Billy Yum, Mr. Robbins, Justin Burnside and Zaldor of Zaldor's World Podcast for becoming a patron. We hope you enjoy our long, uncut and girthy episodes until you're fully satisfied and left shaking from laughter. For everyone else, you can join our Patreon too. Just head to patreon.com/theoddpod. Become a patron and reap the benefits today.
Are you tired of incense that stinks? Motor City Candleworks is Metro Detroit's #1 source for premium handmade incense, as well as hand sanitizer and now massage oil, with a wide array of scents inspired by Michigan cities and attractions. You're sure to find a fragrance that'll keep your love of the mitten burning all year round. Head to MotorCityCandleworks.com and order yours today. And make sure you find them on Facebook, too, for all of their upcoming sales and events. Motor City Candleworks. Michigan handmade scents that just make sense.
That smell. The kind of smelly smell.
Some walk to the right, some walk right down the middle, and they still don't see the light. Some think they have the answer, some just don't have a clue. So they put their trust in others, they don't know what to do. Want to change the world, gotta change your mind. Don't you worry about the future, don't you fret about the past. Don't you walk around in darkness, thinking it will last. Want to change the world, gotta change your mind. Hit me. Don't you fret about the past. Don't you walk around in darkness, thinking it will last. Want to change the world, gotta change your mind. Hit me again, come on. Don't you worry about the future, don't you fret about the past. Don't you walk around in darkness, thinking it will last. Want to change the world, gotta change your mind. Now it doesn't take a genius to know what works and what is broke. One thing I know for certain is that this world is gonna choke if we keep right on going the way we always do. When you bow down to the masters, who's gonna stand for you? You wanna change the world, you gotta change your mind. Wanna change the world, gonna change your mind. Wanna change the world, you gotta change your mind.
My brain stopped, I can't move, lost the way that her hips grew. want to taste your soul again. I drop down and start to pray, Father, please forgive me for my sins. I feel the night rain coming down, she's dancing naked in the light of the moon. She takes a shot right off my chest, I know I should be leaving soon.
Bésame a ti, papi. Te gusta esto, ¿no? Haz lo que quieras. Dámelo duro. Y va. Voy a venir, papi. Dame esa leche. Ven conmigo.
She says she likes the way I smell as she runs her tongue across my neck. The temperature's rising fast. I'm not sure what I should do next. I got my hand on her ass, got her hand down my pants. I gotta leave here soon, yeah. Fall to my bed, my head is spinning. I could have sworn that I was winning. Everything's gone wrong. Look around and she's gone. So confused, I start to sweat. I gotta leave here soon. So blind I cannot see.
Hi, this is your friendly neighborhood radio DJ Oddman. Just wanted to let you know that the Odd Pod has an official merch shop set up for all the oddities eager to get covered in a bit of odd. Or maybe you want to seduce your partner by slipping into something a little more odd.
Ooh la la.
Maybe you just want to wallpaper a room in your house with stickers, because we got them too.
I'm gonna need more stickers.
You can find a link on our page via Facebook or on our page over at tapdetroit.com/The Odd Pod. So show your support and love for the Odd Pod today by picking up something from our store.
I'll just keep her pointed due north. Don't bump into anything. I'm gonna get some shut-eye.
Captain Rod!
Hey, all you oddies, this is Ace, coming back at you again, co-host for the Odd Pod at tapdetroit.com every Friday night at 8 with another Captain Ron report. The last you heard from us, we was sitting in the middle of Yellowstone National Park. We spent another night there, avoided getting ate by the grizzlies. We left there and traveled out the end of the park to the Grand Tetons. We checked out the Grand Tetons. Then we worked our way over to the Oregon coast. We got there at about 1:30 in the morning, so it was dark and I couldn't see the ocean, but we went to sleep in the truck and I woke up just before daybreak, just in time to get out and snap some pictures. If you was looking on Facebook, you'll see. But I caught just the daybreak and a slow reveal of the ocean for the first time, and it was pretty impressive. I enjoyed it. And we hung out there. What was the name of that place, Captain Ron?
Huh?
What was the name of that place?
Port Orford.
Port Orford, Oregon.
Yep. The farthest place west in continental United States. So some say, at least the ones that live there. But we've got the farthest place west on the continental United States and came down through northern California, through the Rocky Zigzag, through there, over to Reno, down to Yosemite. We drove through Yosemite.
Yeah, we got to Yosemite Gate, and ever since we've entered California, we've been inspected, detected, looked at sideways. They stopped us
all under my trailer.
They pulled us over and crawled underneath the trailer looking for gypsy fly moth larvae. And then for our gratuity, we ran over their blocking trucks and started dragging them across their shop. It was pretty hilarious.
He told me to go, so I went, and then he started screaming. And I had to stop, back up a little bit to get his truck out, and then the other truck was stuck. And then I started to go again, and he's hollering and screaming again. So I said, he said, when you get to the other end, you give them this receipt if they ask for it. I said, I'll throw it at them when I go by.
And then it ended up getting sucked out the window.
Perfect. Just sucked right out the window.
But yeah, we're getting quite a few side eyes. They're getting a real good glimpse of Michiganders in action. And we went through Yosemite, like he said, and checked that all out.
Now we're in Bakersfield.
And we ended up, because of the fires, that's another thing. We was cutting through California, and there was a lot of fire crews and stuff around, and we was like, maybe this isn't the safest way, but it was the only way that from where we was coming from. So we started up this mountain, dragging this trailer. Got to, I don't know, about 85, 100 feet. And we was basically at the top of this mountain, and it started getting real smoky. And I was like, this is not fog. This is smoke. This is not good. Well, we get to the very peak, and the fire crews waved us off to the side of the road, made us pull completely off the side of the road, and said, you're going to have to wait here for a few minutes. We got to shift some men and equipment. Hour and a half we waited. But yeah.
The smoke got thicker, and more fire trucks went by, and they wouldn't let us come down. The fucking mountain's on fire, and then they said, stay here. Wait a minute. Don't the fire go up the hill? We're on the top of the hill. I think we should let us get down.
Yeah, down was the only answer I could come up with.
Yeah,
but
we did that too.
We're not having much luck with these mountains. But yeah,
we're fine. Ace was just scared shitless of them mountains. I ain't even got a scratch left on that dashboard.
Oh, there's claw marks all over my side of the dash. I tell you, somebody needs to write California and introduce them to frickin' guardrails. Yeah, Jesus, man. If you look out the window, you can see the tire riding the edge of the road, and there's like 8,000 foot below you. Yeah, no guardrail, no hint of a shoulder. You go over the white line, your history.
Every once in a while, he'll be sleeping a little bit, and he say, you all right? I said, yeah. Are you all right? I said, yeah. I wait till he starts falling asleep, and I go, he comes alive like a
doesn't wake you up quicker than the driver snoring.
Yeah, we were sleeping in a rest area in a bad part of northern LA up in there somewhere. And he put his pistol in his lap, blocked the doors, and I got the back one. Right. I woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready to get some miles on. I sneaked over there and pecked on the window. I thought he was going to shoot me right in the freaking head.
Don't be tapping on my window at 4 in the morning in an LA area.
Yeah, everybody's name was Carlos.
They
all was riding lowrider.
Yeah, there was a little group that had hang out there all night long. So yeah, I was a little worried.
We ain't there no more. We're down here in the creek getting warm.
So we ended up just keep moving south. Yeah, we got ran out of California by the fires, and we worked our way into Oregon towards Reno, and that was on fire. And we pushed even farther to Carson City, where we found a one-night hotel, and we were spending the night there, and all of a sudden the place filled up. And it was all the evacuees from Lake Tahoe. They had been evacuated. So we took off. We was like, we got to get away from the fires. We can't camp. They had everything shut down because fire and COVID. So we worked our way down here to Bakersfield. We get here, no reservations, no way. We pull into this campsite, and everything was full. And he said, don't worry. And he's been saying this the whole trip. Don't worry. It's the Captain Ron way. It'll all work out. And for God knows why, it just has. So we pulled into this place. It's packed. There's no reservation. And then we see a sign that says reservations online only. So I go on and I look and I start looking. And we all know how tech-savvy I are. So
good in English.
I practice both equally. But I got online and we was managed to reserve a spot, and it just happened to be like the prime spot of the whole park. We got it for 3 days because nobody camps on Wednesdays,
So
Thursdays, and
$80
Fridays.
for 3 days.
Yeah, $80 for 3 days.
That's with a senior discount. Captain Ron always has one of those.
It's a standard Captain Ron tradition. And then we were sitting here, and everybody left the park, and it was basically us and our newfound friend, Gary. I won't mention Gary's last name just out of respect for Gary. Super nice guy. Fun to talk to. Him and his wife and his son. Yes, exactly. What was that?
I said he's just as common as Dirt Randy.
Yeah.
He's been a trapper and a builder and a firewood salesman, and he likes to drink a little bit.
It was funny because...
He loves to talk.
Yeah, he's a talker. He's worse than us. But if you can imagine that. But we got to talking to Gary, and when we was talking to Gary, I noticed pretty quickly that there was something wrong with his hands, and I didn't say nothing. Everybody's got their issues in life, and I got to looking closer, and it looked like he had been mangled pretty badly, and I was figuring it was a mechanical machine or something to that effect. Well, Gary broke into the story about how he used to be a fox trapper. And one day, while out fox trapping, Gary come across a fox caught in his live trap. He said the thing was very friendly, it was very calm, it looked sedated, he didn't think it was an issue. So Gary, the fox trapper, thinking that this fox is, just scared and wants to get out, and it was the only one he had caught for that day, so he was going to let it go. So he went to the front of the cage and he released the cage. And he says the fox backed out of the cage and promptly started to attack him and was biting him in his hands viciously. And he was trying to fight this fox off of him, and it kept biting him and biting him and biting him, and he finally got away from the fox. And he, went to the emergency room. They got there, and they was like, sir, you're missing quite a bit of your hands here. Maybe you should go back and find the pieces of it. So they sent a search party back to where it had happened, and when they got back there, they could see the blood where the incident had taken place, but evidently the fox stuck around and ate what was left in Gary's hand.
The fox trapper that gets his hands eat up by the fox.
Yeah, so Gary is
to say he didn't do much fox trapping after.
Yeah, he was done fox trapping.
He gave that up to firewood sales.
Yeah, he started messing with a chainsaw after that, which I found kind of ironic. But he's a super nice guy, and if you're out there listening, we had a great time hanging out with you, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to pack up out of here as soon as we get Captain Ron a new phone. He lost his phone. Yeah, it was easy done, but anyway. Yeah, I did. If I got to stand in Verizon, we're going to mention you lost your phone. Yeah, Verizon's on the hook right now. But anyway, from Bakersfield, California, sitting knee-deep in a creek. This is Ace and Captain Ron with another Captain Ron report. Y'all have a good weekend, and we'll see you in a week.
Bye now.
Bye. Peace. I don't know how to shut the phone off. It's not doing it. Yeah, I'm still being recorded, I'm sure. God damn.
What happened?
I don't know how to shut it off. The screen went away. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Wait, I got it.
Thanks for checking out the Odd Pod. If you want to hear the whole show, consider becoming a patron of our Patreon. Head to patreon.com/The Odd Pod. We're also all over social media like an STI that won't wash off. Head to tapdetroit.com/The Odd Pod to follow us today. We're already following you, and you forgot to buy milk.